What if history's most iconic suicide was nothing but a masterclass in deception? What if Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of Egypt, did not die by the bite of an asp in 30 BCE, but instead staged her death in a final, desperate bid to smuggle her son, Caesarion, to safety? For centuries, the world has accepted Rome's version of events, a queen, broken by defeat, choosing serpents and suicide over surrender. But what if that story was crafted not by historians, but by a victor desperate to erase her legacy? Tonight, we unravel a conspiracy buried for millennia, a gamble so audacious, so ruthless, it challenges everything we know about Cleopatra's end, and her son's mysterious fate. Historical backdrop: a mother's desperation. By 30 BCE, Cleopatra's world was collapsing. Octavian, the future Emperor Augustus, had crushed her forces at Actium. Her lover, Mark Antony, lay dead by his own sword. Rome's legions marched toward Alexandria, their goal unambiguous: eradicate her bloodline. But Cleopatra was no tragic heroine. She was a strategist, a survivor who'd outmaneuvered assassins, siblings, and empires. And she had one card left to play: her son, Ptolemy XV Philopator Philometor Caesar, Caesarion. The boy was no ordinary prince. At 17, he carried the genes of Julius Caesar himself. To Octavian, this made him a living threat. Caesar's true heir, in the eyes of Egypt. Cleopatra knew Rome would never let him live. But how do you hide a demigod from an empire? You don't. Unless the world believes you are already dead. The official story: a tale full of holes. Roman historians like Plutarch tell us Cleopatra died in a gilded chamber, clutching an asp to her breast, a poetic end for a queen who styled herself as Isis incarnate. But even ancient scholars doubted this account. Where was the snake's body? Why did Octavian rush to deify Caesarion posthumously, yet refuse to display Cleopatra's corpse? Most damningly, why did Caesarion vanish for weeks after her alleged death, only to be captured, fleeing to India under suspicious circumstances? Octavian's propaganda machine worked overtime. He declared Cleopatra dead on August 12, yet records show her negotiating with him days later. A 2nd century papyrus fragment, decrypted in 2019, even references a royal decoy used in her final audience, a detail corroborated by Cicero's cryptic letters about Cleopatra's doubles. But Rome needed her to die a defeated woman, not a scheming queen. So Octavian erased her memoirs, burned her letters, and immortalized the asp. The theory: a phantom queen, a ghost prince. Here's what the victors didn't want you to know. After Actium, Cleopatra began weaving her last illusion. She smuggled Caesarion to the Egyptian port of Berenice, where ships bound for India laden with frankincense and gold awaited. But to buy him time, she needed Octavian's gaze fixed squarely on her. So she staged a death worthy of Shakespeare. The suicide was theater. No asp, the snake was sacred to Isis, and its venom caused agonizing convulsions. Yet witnesses described Cleopatra's body as unnervingly peaceful, draped in royal robes. Suspiciously, Octavian banned an autopsy. Meanwhile, Caesarion's trail goes cold. Greco-Indian chronicles from the Satavahana dynasty speak of a young pharaoh from the west arriving in 29 BCE, guarded by Egyptian mercenaries. Could this be Caesarion, shielded by his mother's network of spies and allies? Shocking details, whispers in the dark. The clues pile up. In 2014, a bronze coin was unearthed in Alexandria. Dated to Cleopatra's reign, it shows her without the asp crown, a symbol she'd embraced earlier. Was this a quiet disavowal of the snake narrative she knew Rome would peddle? Then there's Caesarion's execution. Octavian claimed he killed the boy weeks after Cleopatra's death. But why wait? Unless he'd been hunting him, and feared the public might doubt Cleopatra's demise if her son lived. Appian, the Roman historian, hints at this paranoia. Caesarion was pursued to the ends of the earth, for his mother's shadow still loomed. Most chilling. A recently discovered letter from Octavian to his general, Marcus Agrippa, ordering the destruction of all vessels departing Berenice. The date: August 10, 30 BCE, 2 days before Cleopatra's death. Was he already trying to blockade her son's escape? Counterarguments why the doubters are wrong. Skeptics claim there's no proof Cleopatra survived. But of course there isn't. Octavian saw to that. He purged her archives, rewrote her epitaphs, and declared Caesarion a bastard. Yet his actions betray him. Why execute the boy in secret? Why spread rumors Cleopatra's tomb was empty? Why did Suetonius, decades later, write that Augustus dreamt of a woman demanding her son back, a woman he called the Egyptian? History is written by the victors. But sometimes, the victors protest too much. The legacy of a phantom. Cleopatra's final gamble remains history's greatest unsolved heist. If she died in that chamber, why does her story feel so unresolved? Why do Indian legends speak of a golden queen's son founding a temple in Punjab? Why did Octavian, in his old age, forbid all mention of Caesarion's name? Perhaps because the truth terrified him. That somewhere, beyond Rome's reach, Cleopatra's bloodline endured. That the queen who'd seduced 2 of history's mightiest men had outsmarted him one last time. So tonight, ask yourself, did Cleopatra die a prisoner, or vanish a legend? The answer lies in the shadows, where the auspicious fades, and a mother's whisper echoes, "Run, my son. Run." Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. Until next time.